Hey y'all, this is Amy and welcome to Become Your Own Favorite Chef. Today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite chicken recipes. It's very simple but full of flavor. It is pecan-encrusted chicken. It's very healthy because it's baked and not fried, but doesn't taste healthy. It tastes amazing. So to get started, let's first make our pecan crust. I use a food processor because it makes it quick and easy. If you don't have a food processor, no worries. You can still make this. Instead of processing the pecans and crunching them up here, you can just put them in a baggie, pound them out with a meat mallet or even a spatula, and then mix all of your ingredients together then. So what we need are 1.5 cups of halved pecans that are not salted. To that we're going to add the finer texture that kind of helps bind everything, and that is 1/4 cup of Italian breadcrumbs. Now, Italian breadcrumbs are my favorite because they have a little bit of dried herbs, a little bit of garlic in there already, so that helps add some flavor. And then to give a really amazing crunch, as if the nuts weren't enough, we have 1/2 cup of panko breadcrumbs. Panko breadcrumbs are those really thick, big pieces of super crunchy Japanese breadcrumbs, and these are really great because they stay crunchy when they're oven cooked, fried, and I pretty much put panko in all of my breading for me. So to this, I want to add a little bit more flavor. The pecan is an awesome flavor, but it needs a little help along the way. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of garlic salt because I'm a garlic girl. This is not going to be a garlicky dish. The garlic just helps add a little bit of extra flavor. And then we're going to actually put honey mustard as the base of our chicken before we add our crust. And so it's going to be very sweet, and the pecan mixture is going to be a little salty. So adding just a tiny bit of heat really gives this dish extra flavor and makes it awesome. So I like to add about 1/4 teaspoon of ground cayenne pepper. If you do not like heat, you don't have to add this. It's not going to make it spicy, it's just going to give it a little more depth. So once we have all of our ingredients, let's pulse away until everything looks pretty consistent. That looks pretty good. You can see here, I still have some pieces of pecan that you can tell, this is a pecan encrusted chicken. We always want to be able to tell what our ingredients are. But then everything else kind of fills in with a little more finer texture so that our crust envelops the whole chicken and is consistent. So that's about the texture we're looking for. Now let's talk about how to prep our chicken. Alright guys, what I'm using here are boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And these are 4 rather large ones. Once these are actually beat out and cooked, 1 per person is a little much. So I would say this serves 6 to 8 people, depending on how much your people like to eat. I did take some chicken shears, or kitchen shears, and cut off some of the excess fat. And we're going to pound these until they are even, so they will cook evenly. To protect your beautiful kitchen and your clothes, please cover your chicken with some plastic wrap first. This will help all the raw chicken bits from flying everywhere. And then we're just going to gently but firmly pound our chicken. Once you have one side, flip them over. And you want to pound both sides of the chicken. If you don't have a good meat mallet like this, you can use any kind of spatula. But I love my meat mallet. If you don't have one, get one. They're cheap, and you'll use it all the time. So plastic goes back on, and the process begins again. Okay, you know when your chicken is done, when it's about the same size all the way through. See how big that ended up being? So after we've done that, wash your hands. We are going to take honey mustard and we're going to slide this on as a base. This is going to give the chicken a very juicy, tender texture. In fact, using one of these already makes the chicken amazingly tender, but adding a little bit of honey mustard will even make it better. It also gives something for the pecan crust to stick to. Sometimes, if you don't have honey mustard, you could use an egg wash, but the egg wash doesn't have that sweet, amazing honey mustard flavor that goes so perfectly with our pecan crust. And I'm just using my favorite brand of honey mustard. It's really sweet, so just pick what you trust and what you like. We're going to do this on both sides. Once we have them covered in our honey mustard, the next step is to take your chicken, place it into our pecan crust, kind of shake it around. Now you want to use your hands for this. The pecan crust, you want to kind of push it in. You really want those pecans and all the flavor and breadcrumbs to stick to it really well and evenly. Everything needs to be coated perfectly evenly. Don't leave any spots bare. That's what we're looking for. Okay, we're ready to cook. I preheated my oven to 350. I'm using just a normal oven dish, but I sprayed this like crazy with some oil so it's non-stick. The pecan crust does tend to stick pretty easily, so spray it down well. See how huge these pieces of chicken are? Definitely 8 people could eat on this. But we're going to cook this at 350 for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes at 350, you can see our chicken is not quite done. If you're doing chicken strips or something, this might be enough for you. That's why you want to check the temperature or make sure that it's completely white through the middle. But with big breasts like this, what I'm going to do is turn our temperature up to 375 and let this cook another 10 minutes or so. What that's going to do is allow this to brown even more, get a little crunchier on the outside, and we'll check it for it to be ready. Okay, so for chicken this big, what I did was 20 minutes at 350, another 10 minutes at 375. If you don't trust your thermometer, cut into it. If the chicken is completely white, then you're finished. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, that's just, it looks like it took me all day to make it, and y'all were here, it didn't take hardly any time. So let's dig in. It's a good idea to use that same honey mustard as a dipping sauce to enhance that honey mustard flavor, but you don't need sauce. All of it. I can definitely taste the nuttiness of the pecans, but then I get a little bit of that cayenne pepper. I can taste a little bit of the garlic salt. The honey mustard is not overwhelming at all. I can barely taste it, but it gives the chicken such a moistness, and it's very, very tender. So I hope you guys try this. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching.